This product review is brought to you by the website www.allabouthomeenelectronics.com. Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at 7 different styles of outdoor TV antennas by RCA. And the reason we're going to look at 7 different ones is because this general information might help you in deciding if you're going to buy an antenna, which one is going to be the best one for your situation, or it might help you if you are trying to troubleshoot a really general problem with your antenna. And there's some information in here that's going to benefit RVers and campers as well as they go about their travels. So let's get started. Okay, the first antenna that we're going to look at, it has a 150-inch boom. This is a monster of an antenna. Now, it is directional. However, the reception can be up to 100-mile radius, and the MSRP on an antenna like this is $139.99. Now, we don't care where you buy it. You can go down to a local home improvement center and probably pick something like this up. You can certainly shop for it online and order it in. Now, there are going to be 2 scenarios where a person would want this. They're really interested in getting as many broadcasters viewable on their television from as far away as possible. So, for example, if you live in a rural area and the broadcasters are within the city or multiple cities, this antenna would work nicely for you. That arrow-shaped triangle part of the antenna right here, you would want to point that in the general direction of the broadcaster that you're hoping to pick up the most. Now, this is a different outdoor antenna. It's quite a bit smaller. As you can see, it's listed here as only having a 110-inch boom, and the reception is a roughly 60-mile radius. Now, various factors are going to improve or degrade the strength of the signal that you pick up with a television antenna. For example, if the mountains happen to be in between you and the broadcaster, the mountains are going to obstruct the signal. If you have a lot of tall buildings and structures like buildings, then those things are going to obstruct the signal. The weather can obstruct or enhance the signal. For example, on a slightly cloudy day, that signal can bounce from ground to cloud and travel much greater distances at a good signal strength, whereas opposed to a completely sunny day, the signal might cause your TV picture to pixelate. This is more of a directional type of antenna, although it is rated for a reception radius up to 60 miles. And the MSRP on this particular antenna is $65.59. So that's going to give you an idea if you decide you want to go out and capture an antenna like this for your place, how much you're going to invest. Okay, the next antenna we want to look at is a little shorter range. The reception on this is about a 40-mile radius. This antenna can be installed either outdoor or in the attic. Actually, any antenna can be installed in the attic, space providing. But as you can see from the smaller profile, this one would fit into an attic more nicely. It's also directional, but again, the radius is diminished quite a bit down to 40 miles. You might want to have this in a situation where you know the broadcasters are in close proximity to you. If you put it in the attic, there is the possibility that the range is going to be degraded even further. And of course, obstructions in between you and the broadcaster and your antenna are going to limit that as well. This antenna has an MSRP of about $50. We did some research ourselves online, and we found the price range from $40 to just under the low mid-50s. So this would be a real great antenna to put inside the attic, get some good reception if you know the broadcasters are fairly close by. And here's the thing about locating the broadcasters. If you're curious how many broadcasters are in your area, there's a link posted right below this video which takes you to our website. It will take you to the over-the-air television antenna article in our website, and in there is a broadcaster locator tool. So you click that link and you type in some information like your zip code, or if you happen to be an RVer or camper and you're going somewhere but you want to have television with you when you arrive where you're going, check that link out and see where the broadcasters are with respect to where you're going to park your RV, where you're going to camp and set up. Now, if you're just a homeowner and you've never seen that tool, go on down to that link, check that tool out, and then it's going to give you an idea how many broadcasters, what direction they are from you, and what their distances are, and that will help you in selecting an antenna if you decide to get an antenna or replace an antenna. Now, one thing I want to take a look at here is the antenna boom rotor motor. The actual motor is this component right here. Now, this is for the large outdoor antennas that you post on a boom, and a person might want to use this particular product again if they live in a rural area and broadcasters are in multiple directions. For example, you might live in a rural area where a broadcaster is to your west and one is to your east. Well, you might want both of those broadcasters, and your antenna is going to optimize in one direction. Well, if you want to pick up the other one and still have a sharp, crisp, non-pixelating picture, you would simply take your remote, which is going to be next to your television, point it at this antenna control box, and then hit a button you program, and your antenna is going to rotate around and point in the optimal direction of the broadcaster you're hoping to get. Now, this is only for people who really enjoy the over-air antenna and like to use it on a daily basis, but they have broadcasters in distinct multiple directions. Now, we're putting this picture up just to depict what it would take once a rotor motor is completely installed. There are several components that we need to take a look at. Of course, here is a mast, and this is typically installed adjacent to the house or a structure on your property. And the drive unit itself, the motor that rotates the antenna, is attached to that mast. And then there's a second portion of the mast attached to the top portion of the drive unit where your antenna is secured. And in this particular depiction, you can see here is the 75 ohm coaxial antenna cable coming down, and they use standoffs because as that antenna is rotated completely up to 360 degrees, this wire is going to wrap around that antenna pole, so it has to be installed in a certain configuration. And then there's a second wire that's run back to that control module we showed you in the last slide. I believe that's a 3-wire, but that's necessary to control this drive unit. So this would just give you an idea, if you were interested in a product like that, the type of work that you might expect to run into to properly put this antenna up in a secure fashion, given the fact that winds are variable and change often. Okay, so this is the next antenna we want to take a look at. This one's designed to go outdoors as well, or it works okay in an attic installation. It's an omnidirectional antenna. It doesn't necessarily have to be pointed specifically at the broadcasters, but with that, the reception is going to be under 40-mile radius. And again, obstructions and how you point this are probably going to impact the reception. Now, this particular antenna does come with a power adapter, so it injects and amplifies that signal. It's depicted here on the left. Here's the antenna, this antenna, and then there's the coaxial lead that goes to the amplifier, and then from the amplifier to the television. And then that amplifier, of course, is plugged into a wall receptacle with this little transformer right here. Now, the amplifier will amplify the signal, but you want to be kind of careful how you do that because you can degrade the picture if you amplify it too much. This antenna is pretty unique. It has a flat panel type design. It's designed to go indoors, and it is omnidirectional in nature. RCA doesn't give us any specifications on its range, but we suspect it's somewhere similar to the old style rabbit ears from the 60s and 70s, which, by the way, that's one of the antennas we're going to look at here in one of our last frames. But we want to point out the MSRP on this is $79.99. So if you're deciding that this might be something you want to take a look at, you know what your budget can be. Now, RVers could, in theory, use this. Again, this is an amplified flat panel TV. It could be, you can stand it up straight behind the TV. You can lay it flat. You know, it has multiple configurations that way. But because it's amplified, it needs electricity. Now, you know, if you're in an RV and you've got full hookups, well, the amplification probably isn't an issue. But if you're running off batteries, you're going to drain your batteries down with this, but of course your TV will as well. And if you're running off generator, then it probably doesn't really matter either. But this would be a good situation for a person in a home who's not super technical, but wants to get over air channels without a lot of hassle and doesn't want to worry about the weather. Now this antenna, although it's a little bit different color, is just like the last slide. This one is a non-amplified antenna. It is also indoor omnidirectional. This one would be another great consideration for somebody in an RV, camper, or what have you to install, because you know, with an RV, every time you pull up to a campsite, you usually, if you're using over-the-air antennas, you have to twist that wind guard antenna up, and then you got to point it, and you got to go out of the RV and look, unless you have a little more sophisticated setup. Whereas with this right here, you know, it just sits there. So you put it in one of your cabinets and connect it to your TV, and it just sits there. You just scan for channels, and you don't have to worry about what direction you're pointing. So it would make it a lot easier for an RVer. And again, for a non-technical homeowner, maybe somebody who's in a large city, you've got broadcasters all over the place, you know, you want to keep it real simple. And another great reason for having this antenna is if your cable television service or your satellite television service or your UVerse service, if one of those services go down and you have this antenna, you can still get emergency weather and news information, you know, by using the antenna. Now this has an MSRP of $29.99. I've seen it out in some home improvement retailers before. Of course, it's also shoppable online. Last but not least are the good old rabbit ears. Who doesn't remember these? Now this one is an amplified rabbit ear type situation. Of course, this would sit right at your television. This would work well in emergency situations. This has an MSRP of $29.95. Picks up both UHF and VHF, and of course it's an indoor antenna. You can use this on a permanent basis if you want free television, you don't want to pay for it, or you can use this in an emergency situation. Again, we mentioned that the link to our website, it's right below the video. We ask you please take a visit. If you found some of this information useful, by all means please subscribe to our channel. We put out product reviews, helpful how-to videos, technical know-how, things of that effect from time to time. If you're a user of Facebook, visit our channel. We have a button that takes you to our Facebook page. Please like us. Please help us spread the word. If you know somebody who can benefit from information like this, take a look at our Facebook page, see what we post. We don't post information too often because we try to keep it important and valuable when we do. But anyway, thanks for stopping by and taking a look, and have a great day.